Hello and welcome to the Animazing Podcast, where we are talking about BNA, Brand New Animal. And we are doing our first impressions of the first two episodes. So, what did you think?
I thought this show was really good. And I like Trigger in general, but I don't ever finish any Trigger shows.
Yeah.
But I feel like if there's any I would finish, it's this. I'm not sure if I will, but I feel like if there's any I would, it's this. This is like how do I explain it? I don't know if you would agree with this, but it feels like the least Trigger show. You know what I mean?
Yes, and that's a tough one.
I'll okay, let me qualify it. If in terms of like style, like overall style, it feels like a Trigger show.
Yes.
But writing wise, it doesn't feel as much like a Trigger show.
Yes.
And that's why I was saying, like, if there's any Trigger show I would finish, this might be it.
Yes.
This might be the one.
So, real quick recap. Basically, Brand New Animal tells the story of a girl named Michiru. Michiru. And who one day magically turns into a half-human Tanuki hybrid, and then travels to the town of Anima City, or City of Anima City, which is a town completely populated by a group of beings known as Beastmen, who have the power to instantly shapeshift between animal and to instantly transform between animals and humans. And she basically has to go through the city and discover the secret of why she was turned into a Tanuki. And I will say, in terms of pros and cons, pros are definitely the Trigger aesthetic, animation is top notch, use of color and overall aesthetic is amazing, and I definitely really like the main character design. I wasn't feeling a lot of the designs for a lot of the other characters, and that's mostly because I'm not a furry. Or a real big fan of like the whole anthropomorphic animal look. I will say I liked it a lot better than Beastar's overall design style, because it doesn't really push that far into the human category. But it still doesn't really sell me all that much. And in terms of cons, it's kind of hard for me at this point. It's hard for me to, like, fully see what the show's strengths and weaknesses are. I will say it has a really good job of pacing it. I never felt like the story was really slowing down or meandering through the first two episodes. And I will also say that the voice acting is great, and you get a lot of Trigger's really nice squash and stretch anime-style anime. Also, you remember when we were talking about Castlevania? If you look at a lot of the fight scenes, you'll see what I mean by, like, Castlevania's fight scenes being very stuttery. With this, like, the fights were really smooth, and even when they sort of blinked from pose to pose, they did it in very strategic places where the contrast between speed from fluidity to rigidity as the impact. And it didn't feel like how in Castlevania, it just felt like... In Castlevania, it felt like they were supposed to be more frames. They just didn't have time to add them. In this, the frame stops or the holds felt like they were put in way more strategic places than they were with Castlevania.
This really makes me wonder what it is that Castlevania did, because for me, when I was watching BNA, I didn't even really pay, like, all the animation was good, of course, and the fight animation was good, but it didn't stand out to me, and I didn't even really think about it until you mentioned it. Whereas with Castlevania, like, the moment I saw it, I was like, wow, this is amazing. So it makes me wonder, like, if Castlevania wasn't as good, why is it that I like it? And I don't know. Like, I can't tell.
Because you're an Avatar fan, and that's the same exact style of fighting they had.
Oh, okay, maybe. So then, I guess you explained it. Like I guess you said choppy frames.
Hmm.
I still don't really understand it, but
Like
I guess it's something I'd have to look at it more closely.
in Castlevania, they cut out a lot of in between frames, so they just hop between key pose, key pose, key pose. So a lot of their fights
Mm,
are, like I said, mostly key poses. With Trigger's fight scenes, they use a lot of in betweens, so
mm,
the fight scenes feel really smooth, and they play into the idea of timing where only if a movement is really fast, that's when they get rid of a lot of the frames. But if a movement is supposed to be more fluid, that's when they start adding a lot more.
okay, I see.
So say if a punch is
All
supposed
right.
to be really fast, you'll have like maybe one in between the ready and the punch pose.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in B and A, there's probably like 5 in betweens. Whereas with Castlevania, there would be no in betweens.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But
And
with that
so,
said, also Inferno Cop
mhm.
reference.
What reference? I didn't hear you.
Inferno Cop.
Oh, I don't even know what Inferno Cop is. I've heard of it, but I don't know what it
Oh,
is. What is that?
you're missing out. That's like the
Is that another
absolute.
Trigger show?
Yes, it is the absolute pinnacle of not only Trigger, but also Japanese animation in general.
What is it about?
It's about a cop who has a burning skull head who fights evil with a
Okay,
gun.
this sounds really familiar. This sounds very familiar, and I've definitely heard of it, but yeah, I haven't seen it. But
No,
I'm
dude.
sure, and like it's by Trigger, so I have no doubt that it's. So wait, what was the reference then?
So if you were so you know the scene where like she's running through the festival. If you
Hmm.
look at one of the monitors, you'll see it like playing. You'll see one of the episodes playing on the big screen,
Oh, okay, that's cool.
and
That's
also
cool.
like
Wow, I'm surprised you noticed that.
yeah,
It's
man,
weird how you notice those little things because I don't at all.
yeah, man, it's Inferno Cop. It makes Promare look like South Park.
Oh my god. Okay, then I probably wouldn't like it. Promare was too over the top for me. So if you think if you think it makes Promare look tame, then I probably would. I would probably get a seizure watching Inferno Cop.
You would literally burst into flames from its awesomeness.
But yeah, so I had a question about what you said about the character designs.
Mm.
So you said you don't like in general you don't like anthropomorphic character designs. So, but why do you like Michiru's specifically?
Because she's more of an even balance. Where, like,
Mm.
you can tell she's supposed to be animal inspired, but like, the human aspects of her outshine the animal aspects of her. Like, there's a
Oh, okay.
more of a,
I see that.
like, the blend between her, like, the Tanuki aspects and her human aspects are blended way better with it leaning more towards the human side. Like the problem with that I have with a lot of the other designs is, well, there is a similar blend. It leans way more towards the animal side.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Like when they turn into animals, they pretty much just become those animals that stand on two legs.
Like
I
so
agree
for
with that.
example, if you're looking at Shiro, you're looking at a wolf. But when you look at Michiru, you're looking at a girl.
Yeah, yeah. So, what do you think about their human, like their human versions of the character designs? Then.
I think they're perfectly fine. They're perfectly serviceable. They're your standard, like, Trigger anime character designs. So,
Yeah.
the other thing about it is a lot of the designs are, like, super grounded. So, I can't really
Yeah.
say one thing or another about it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I like the character designs
Mm.
in pretty much everything. I don't mind anthropomorphic character designs as much, and yeah, I liked it a lot here. And I agree with you. I prefer it over Beastars.
Mm.
Although Beastars is good in its own right,
Oh,
but
yeah,
yeah, I
completely.
preferred it over Beastars for that. For me, pros, um, the opening and ending very cool. Like I just,
Excellent.
especially the ending. It's like this aesthetic is just, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, but it's just clean, you know, and not even just the opening and ending, but like the whole show itself. Like,
Mhm.
I wish I knew enough about like how to talk about art
Mhm.
to describe what's going on, but all I can say is I really like the colors
Mhm.
and how they use the colors and like the lighting and all that stuff. It's so unique to me.
Mhm.
This style is like really refreshing, and I feel like I wish more anime could be like this, you know.
Yeah, especially for me.
Even
like,
even without like all the sakuga. You
yeah.
know?
Like for me, I've always been a big fan of like really aggressive coloring and like very bright saturated colors in
Yeah.
like as a general design aesthetic. And this show does a really great job of utilizing a monochromatic color scheme where they just like pick one color and they just push it throughout all of the scenes.
Okay,
Also,
maybe that's what it's called.
It's so nice that the leftover pigment from Promare found a place to work.
Yeah. So yeah, those are. I mean, we have the same pros. Like everything you said, I agree with. I also like the soundtrack a lot in the show.
Although for the opening, and this is like I love the opening, but this is just a huge monster of a nitpick. There was a slight lyrical thing I had going. I had like that was annoying me, and I was noticing this when I was listening to like English covers and the actual song. There's a really bad and really hugely missed rhyming opportunity where the lyrics are like, let's go, you know the way, let's go, a brand new world. Like, a brand new day, that would have worked so much better, oh my god. Like, I was just singing along to myself and it's just like, wait, what? It's,
Bruh,
like, I know
why
it's
don't they hire you?
No, I mean, like, it's such a small nitpick, but it's so, like, it just stands out. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, when you're just jamming out to a song and it just, like, cuts off midway? It's like that, where it's just, like, you're in a flow and then you just, like, trip up.
Yeah. It's like when I feel like it's probably one of those situations where it's like you write something, right? And then it's like you're like you have a deadline and you have to write something and you turn it in. And then like just a day later you go back and you read it and it's like, "Oh, wait, I could have easily done that. That would have made it like just this one little thing would have made it like 10 times better."
I also feel like it might be deliberate, like they try to use like the breaking the rhyme scheme to sort of like add to the sort of bulkiness or clunkiness of the flow of the first section to sort of contrast the smoothness of the second section, but still, I didn't feel it.
What did you think about the plot?
I thought the plot was fine. Like, I feel like at the moment I'm probably going to watch it halfway before I drop it. But I think the plot is strong. I'm really happy they went with the whole she's half human route. Because I feel like shows that try to go the prejudice route, but make it so that only members of a certain race are the victims, kind of create an issue. Especially for this where it's all about the big bad humans. Because when you do that, it creates a very us versus them mentality. And since the majority of your viewers are humans, it kind of makes it hard to like immerse yourself in the world because at the end of the day, it's not a you problem, it's a them problem. Mm-hmm. But since we have like the main character being part human, is no longer an us problem or a them problem, it's a Michiru problem or it's a Kaneki problem. And when you have that, you're able to like focus onto the character and like get immersed in their own unique soul experience.
Yeah, I agree with that, but that part of it also kind of annoyed me. Like, I would say the only con about the show is that I think Michiru is kind of annoying in some ways. Like, she can be cool, like especially in episode 2 when she was like, you know, saving all those kids. But it doesn't really make sense to me how like she in the first episode she defended the bombers. Like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't understand that at all. Like why? She was like,
Because
"Oh, I feel bad for them, and like they're
yeah,
still beastmen too." So, but it's like they're beastmen who were trying to kill people. Like it doesn't
right.
matter who they were trying to kill; they were like about to kill a bunch of people.
Yeah, but again, like I'm gonna call it shonen hero mentality, where it doesn't matter who it is, killing is wrong, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty stupid in general, and I don't think it's the same as the way it is in shonen,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like in shonen when like the main character, like if I don't know, let's say
Spares
Goku
someone.
or someone, huh?
Spares someone.
Yeah, when the main character spares someone, it's
They're
it's
beaten
not,
beyond.
huh?
They're beaten beyond a shadow of them fighting back.
Yeah, exactly. But like her, it's like I don't know. I don't see the point of feeling bad for like for them when they were about to like kill everyone, including you. Like I just don't get it at all. And then
Mm.
so that was my first thing that kind of got me like annoyed with her. And then episode 2, she started to redeem herself a little bit when she was like, I don't know, teaching the kids, and then like when she almost saved
Right.
the kids. But then at the end of the episode, she got mad at Shiro again
Which was
when
annoying.
like because he didn't save them earlier when
Yeah.
it was clearly, if he had saved them earlier, he wouldn't have had proof of what they were doing. The gang would have stayed around and they would have just done the same thing to more kids. Like
Right.
it just, I feel like she just gets mad for, I feel like this isn't even like a problem with the character, but like just I feel like this is a forced writing problem
Mm-hmm.
where the writers are trying to force some sort of conflict for her to have
Right.
with the Beastmen and
Mhm.
with Shiro, that to me doesn't really make that much sense. Like so far, in my opinion, Shiro hasn't done one thing wrong.
Yeah.
At all.
Also, Beastman, secret prequel to Gurren Lagann.
Wait, how?
Because the aliens and the antagonist in Gurren Lagann were all called Beastmen.
Oh, are you serious?
Yes.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if that's actually what ends up happening. If this show ends up like ending in an apocalyptic way where everything fails and all the humans end up underground and all that, that would be the coolest thing. Like I would have no problem with that. I would like it a lot more actually.
Also, so I realized something that gave me a lot more respect for Trigger. Every single one of their shows has involved giant robots.
Wait, what? What'd you say?
Every single Trigger show has had giant robots in it in some form or another. Penny and Stalking had giant robots. Kill la Kill had giant robots. Little Witch Academia had giant robots. Darwin
Wait,
in
what?
the Bronx.
It
Yeah.
did?
Yeah.
Where? Maybe
was
I didn't
like-
get far enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't finish it, so
Yeah.
of course it had giant robots. Okay, yeah,
Darwin
so
in the
keep going.
Bronx, giant robots. Gridman, giant robots. Promare, giant robots. So I'm really looking forward to when the giant robots are going to appear in this.
That's gonna disappoint you so much. You know, like I always say that I don't inherently have a problem with giant robot series, but for some reason I just can't ever finish one to this day. Except for Ava, that's the only one that I've ever finished. Right,
Dude,
So-
that's why you can't get through Trigger shows, because your body just like instinctually like makes you drop before the giant robots show up.
But that's like. If giant robots show up in this, I'm not gonna know what to. I feel like that's gonna. I'm just gonna be kind of annoyed because it's just gonna like. It's just throwing you for a loop. Like it has nothing. There's no reason. I would admit it would be funny though, like because there's no reason to include giant robots in this show. Like there's nothing about the premise that shows that you need it. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. That's why I was saying like this doesn't feel like a Trigger show, because mainly for the reason that I actually understand the plot in the first 2 episodes. You know what I mean? Like this doesn't ever happen, you know, except for maybe Little Witch Academia.
I was about to say this is like the first show in a while that didn't have any needless sexualization in it.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. That's true.
Yeah, like all the shows since Little Witch Academia and maybe Space Patrol Luluko all had that kind of issue. Like, Darling in the Franxx had that issue really bad. Kill la Kill was probably the worst, was probably the least offensive. Second to Gridman, because Gridman definitely had its share of, like, over fan servicing at time. Not over, but you knew it was there.
Honestly, I don't have the Gridman show gave birth to some amazing fan art, so I'm not gonna complain about Gridman.
You know it. But yeah, that's what I really liked about that's another thing, because like I don't have a problem with fan service, but when it's just like in your face like that, it distracts you from the rest of the show. Like, that's why I could never, ever get into, Darling in the Franxx.
Yeah. I mean, I just couldn't, like, for me, I just couldn't get into Darling in the Franxx for the same reason I can't get into a lot of Trigger shows, which is, I just don't understand the plot. Like, after a certain amount of time, I'm just like, do I really care? Do I really want to keep going? The animation is always beautiful and everything, but, like, yeah. And so, for this one, I do understand it, and it's good. It's solid.
Yes.
But I'm not sure if it's, like, good enough to, like, I don't think I'm gonna keep watching, but it's not like the show's bad. Like, it's a very solid and good show. I just feel like maybe if I just didn't have anything else that I was watching right now, like anything else that I was obsessed with, Hunter x Hunter, maybe if that wasn't the case, then I would, but yeah, I'm not sure if I'll keep going. And especially if I find out later on that giant robots show up, then definitely not. However, if I find out that it ends in an apocalyptic way, I will definitely watch.
I swear to God, I will bet you $20 that there is going to be a giant robot appearance somewhere in this show.
Now, if the giant robots are what caused the apocalypse, then I don't know. I don't know what I'll do.
Like, I will say that this, like, I will say this. If any other studio was making this, other than Trigger, I probably wouldn't watch it. And
yeah.
I will also say,
I agree.
If this was like on Toonami and it was on TV while I was like working on my laptop, I would definitely drop what I was doing to watch it. But I am unsure how long I will continue to actively search it out. The problem is that the plot hasn't given me a really strong hook yet. There's not that one thing that I need from the show.
Yeah. So I guess her finding out the mystery of her being a human or not or whatever isn't good enough.
I feel like that's required. That's like bare minimum plot, because if it was just her like escaping prejudice and just living in the town, I would find that really like...
It's been done.
It's not even that. That's bad character writing, because every main character has to have a tangible goal, a want, and a need. And if you don't give your character motivation to progress the story, why would your audience have reason?
Yeah, true.
It's like, look at all like the really long-running shows, like Naruto wanted to become Hokage, or Ichigo had whatever thing he was reacting to at that time. Or, like Luke wanted to take down the Empire, and yada yada yada. Trevor was trying to kill Dracula, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I can see that. Did you have any favorite characters?
I actually thought, like, Michiru and Shiro were... I think we didn't get as much character here, but I think Michiru is probably my favorite character, and Shiro will be a second.
Okay, yeah.
Which is
I would
good.
say... Go ahead.
I was going to say, which is good because they're the two main characters, but go ahead. Yeah,
I would also put Shiro as probably my favorite character, because he's just like a badass, and that's all there is to it. and then there's my second favorite character was the Mink.
Oh, really?
Itami, Mari Itami. I like sly characters like her in general, and although I most likely won't continue with the show, I I hope she shows up more because she was pretty interesting. And then, did you have any least favorite characters?
Not really. I don't think there's a single. There was not a single character I think would be like, if they just erased them from the show, it would automatically like jump 10 points. There were no characters like that.
Yeah. Yeah, me neither. I didn't really have any least favorites. I guess it's kind of hard to choose least favorites on first 2 episodes, although some shows definitely can make that happen.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say I'm suspicious about the Mayor Rose. Mayor Rose, like, I get the same vibes from her as from the mayor in Promare. You know?
I know, right?
I feel like she's definitely gonna betray them, or like she's working undercover with the humans or something along those lines. Like she's the one building the giant fishy. Robot. Yeah.
Also, fishy. I see what you did there.
Huh?
I see what you did there, fishy.
Wait, is she supposed to be a fish? I didn't even realize.
She's a hairless cat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she's a hairless cat with like a stash of robots under her building.
Exactly.
So yeah, no least favorite characters, but I'm definitely suspicious about her. And if it does turn out that she is, a bad guy or something, 1, I called it, and 2, that would make the show pretty interesting too. Like it would make it even more interesting.
Like literal best case scenario, she's the morally gray character.
Yeah. But yeah, is there anything else you had any other comments about the show?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, yeah, me too. Overall, I mean, how would I rate it? I would rate it an 8, solid 8. I think I really I didn't even have any cons for the show, honestly. It's just like the only thing that's just keeping me from continuing is just that I'm just not hooked enough. But like it's a very solid show and it's good. And if I hear certain things about it going forward, like in the next few weeks, then maybe I'll go back to it once I'm not watching other things.
Nice. I give it a 7.5. Somewhere between 7 and 7.5. Because maybe it's just because I've watched so much Trigger stuff. But I feel like this is just like baseline Trigger for me.
Okay. I have a question. If a giant robot shows up in episode 3, how will that affect your rating?
8.5.
Oh, I had another question actually, because this was something weird that you said. At least for me, it's weird. You said you'll probably drop it halfway through. How do you decide how do you decide a certain point to drop it? For me, it makes sense to either say I'm going to continue and not know if I might drop it, but if it gets bad, or I'm just going to drop it now. But it doesn't make sense to say halfway through, oh, that's when I'm going to drop it. How do you know?
Because I've dropped a lot of shows and I can kind of get an idea about the narrative flow and the quality of the show to see how long it's going to go before it kind of runs out of gas for me.
Is this going to be, is this going to be like a 12 episode show or 24 or whatever?
I think it's going to be 12, and I can confirm that in a second. Also, I find it really interesting that there is a furry trend going on in anime this year.
Yeah, I do find that interesting too.
Last season, winter we had Beastars. Fall we had Beastars. Spring we had Interspecies Reviewer and Gaku Seitan Academy.
Oh, true. I forgot about that. And you know what? None of them are bad. All of them are actually pretty good.
I mean, Interspecies Reviewer. Seitan Academy is really entertaining, though.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Oh, there was that one show. I forgot what year it came out. This is at least 3 years ago. There was that one CG show that was really low production, but everyone went crazy over it. I forgot what it was called.
Berserk?
But it was huh?
Berserk?
No, not Berserk. No, it was an animal show. And it's it was these 4, I don't know if it was 4, but these animal girls in a plane or a jungle or something.
Yes.
I forget. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I cannot for the life of me figure out what it is.
Yeah, yeah. But that show also blew up, and I remember they were making a second season too, but I don't know whatever happened with that. But yeah, so I guess so are those your final thoughts on it?
Yep.
All right, so yeah, that's been our first impressions for BNA, Brand New Animals, and thank you for watching.